Hello, good day, everyone. Today we're going to talk about superlative adjectives. Now, let us consider different wedding traditions around the world. Let's see which one is the most unique and the most interesting. Now, let me share my screen with you. Just 1 second. I just want to make sure that the screen is there. Okay, so let's take a look. Now, of the different wedding traditions in the world, which one is the most unique? And which of these weddings is the most interesting? Is it underwater wedding, smashing plates, or blackening the bride? And then the third one, which do you think is the weirdest one? Marrying a dog, marrying a tree, or marrying while cutting a log? Okay, now let us look closely at these sentences, all right? Look at the underlined words, the most unique, the most interesting, the weirdest. Now, what is their function in the sentences? Do they tell you what to do? Are they names of persons, places, things, or events? No. Okay, look at number one, the most unique. Does it tell about the wedding traditions? The most interesting. Does it tell about the different weddings? The weirdest. Does it also tell about the weddings? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Now, if they describe the weddings or they describe the nouns, what do you call these words? Okay, they are called adjectives, correct? Because they describe the nouns or they say something about the nouns. Okay, moving on. Which of the wedding traditions is the most unique? Let us take a closer look at the sentences. Okay. How many things are we comparing in sentence one? The wedding traditions. Are we comparing one, two, or many? In sentence two, which of these weddings is the most interesting? How many are we comparing? Underwater wedding, smashing plates, blackening the bride. We are comparing 3 types of wedding, right? What about in sentence 3? Which do you think is the weirdest? Marrying a dog, marrying a tree, or marrying while cutting a log? We are also comparing 3, right? So in sentence 1, we are comparing more than 3. In sentence 2, we're comparing 3. And then in sentence 3, we're comparing also 3. Okay. Now, what do we call this form of adjectives used to compare 3 or more nouns? What do you call those? We call them superlative adjectives, right? Okay. Now, what word is common in sentences 1 and 2? You say the most unique, the most interesting. What is the common word? The same word there is most. You say most unique, most interesting. All right? Now, in sentence 3, we didn't use most. What did we use? We used the adjective weirdest. Why didn't we use most here? How many syllables when we say unique? Unique, there are 2 syllables, right? When we say interesting, there are how many? 4 syllables, right? Now, when do we use most and when do we use est? Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a closer look. Look at this. You say most unique, most interesting, weirdest. All right. Now, here we have unique is 2 syllables, right? Weirdest is 2 syllables. And then interesting is 4 syllables. Why did we use most for interesting? And why did we use est for weird? Okay? Now we will answer that later. Again, also look at the article before the superlative adjectives. What article do we use before the superlative adjectives? So we say the most interesting, the weirdest. So we use the article the, right? Okay. Now let's go back to my previous question. When do we use most and when do we use est? And when do we use the superlative degree of adjective? Now, the superlative degree of adjective is used to compare 3 or more persons, places, things, or events. All right? When do we use est? So we say the longest, the cutest, the brightest, the weirdest, right? Now, generally, est is used for shorter adjectives, like the longest, the cutest, the brightest. But why did we use most in unique? We say the most unique. We cannot say the uniquest, right? Because it is wrong. Now, there are adjectives which end in y. What do we do? How do we form the superlative adjectives? So we change y to I and add est. Example, tiny, the tiniest. Pretty, the prettiest. Okay? Now, when do we use most? Generally, we use most for long adjectives or 3 or more syllable adjectives. But as I've said earlier, the most unique. Unique is only 2 syllables, but still we use most. So we use it for longer adjectives like the most wonderful, the most interesting, the most probable. Okay, but there are exceptions to the rule because there are short adjectives wherein we use most, like the most unique and the most famous. We don't say famous test, okay? So your clue is that you play it by ear, all right? So you say the word or you say the adjective aloud, and if it doesn't sound right, so it means it is not right, okay? So play it by ear. And also, of course, you need to know the correct form. That's the best thing, all right? But if you don't know, then play it by ear. Okay, let's have more examples here. Okay, now complete the sentences with the correct form of adjectives in the parentheses. So we say here, number 1, healthy. What is the superlative adjective of healthy? So we say that earlier, we say that we change y to I and add est. So the form is healthiest, correct? What about in the second one, wealthy? Can you form the superlative adjective? The wealthy, Okay, you have to form it by yourself. And then number 3, new. So we say the blank. Okay. Number 4, I think his cousin is the blank. Famous here, right? The blank. And then number 5, memorable. The blank. Number 6, grand. How do we form the superlative degree of grand? The blank. And then number 7, big. What is your big dream in your life? Now here we don't use the article the because we have the pronoun your before the adjective. So we say, what is your big dream in your life? What is your, form the superlative adjective of big. What is the superlative adjective of big? What is your biggest dream in your life? And all the others you have to form by yourself. Okay. The next slide. Again, let us form the superlative degree of adjectives. The Nile River in Egypt is the blank river in the world. Superlative degree of long. The blank poisonous spiders live in Australia. What is the superlative degree of poisonous? And then number 3, interesting, right? Number 4, tall. Number 5, old. Number 6, good. Okay, now these are very easy adjectives. So you can form the superlative degree of adjectives very fast, right? Okay, now let's move on to the next slide. Now here, you're going to form the superlative degree of adjective and then also guess the facts presented here. For example, dry. What is the superlative degree of dry? You form it fast and then guess what is the correct answer. So what is the driest region in Australia? Is it Murray-Darling Basin, North Queensland, or Western Australia? Okay. Underline or write down the answer. Okay, next, number 2, important. What is the superlative degree of important? So the crop in Australia, is it fruit, is it rice, or is it wheat? Then number 3, big ocean. What is the superlative degree of big? Is it, now the fact, is it the Pacific Ocean, the Indian Ocean, or the Atlantic Ocean? Okay. And then number 4, heavy. What is the superlative degree of heavy? Now, earlier I told you that when the adjective ends in Y, what do we do? Okay, you've got to form it by yourself. Heavy land animal. What is the answer? Is it elephant? Is it rhinoceros? Or is it gorilla? Okay? Now, these are easy questions for you, and you can answer them very quickly. Okay? So, that's all about superlative degree of adjectives. It's a very quick review because you know all these things already. So I have the source video down below in the description box. You can watch it on your own, and you will have a lot more exercises or activities for superlative degree of adjectives in Moodle. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching and review the superlative adjectives. Bye. See you later.